welcome to Success Talks. I'm here again with Abbass Zadeh discussing all these techniques that's going to help us all through our career paths and being top high performers.
Yes, thank you very much for having me back.
You're welcome. Okay, straight into the first technique now.
Sure.
All right? Okay, unconscious rapport. Like, we learned this in coaching.
Okay.
So when we want to build rapport with our clients, there is a technique where you might mirror the way in which they sit, the way in which they move. Not like so obvious, so you kind of like, you know, being some sort of like mime, but just slowly moving with them. And you don't realize that that actually makes them feel comfortable, and you can actually gain a bit of trust and rapport building, and it's in their mind subconsciously that, you know, we are connecting.
Okay.
So have you ever thought of that, or how do you just gain rapport? Just by building connection, knowing people like you mentioned before?
Yeah, I think
not physiology.
Yeah, no, I think for me that's the way that I've always built up rapport. I've never done it in the way that you've just explained it. So I'm quite intrigued on how somebody, can you give us a little bit more insight on how somebody could do that?
Well, it's quite powerful, because if you watch how they breathe and you impersonate that, or you do it in the same, you know, sort of minute as them, as tone as them. I don't know if you remember this movie, watching Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Okay, and how you need to, you know, get your opponent to do what you want to do, and it was called the snake technique.
Okay.
So, you know, they will move the way you're going to move because they're mimicking you. Do you understand? So
Yes.
it's you trying to gauge control of the other person and them feeling that connection.
Okay.
So you don't realize the power in your body language, and you trying to be as the other person, so you can actually kind of be as one. And in that way,
But won't that make it quite difficult if I'm here trying to conclude, for example, a business deal with somebody?
I'm talking about conversation.
Okay, conversations, okay.
Conversation, when you're in a meeting, or even actually in an interview, when you're trying to convince someone and influence someone, and they're talking to you, and sometimes you can see their, you know, their facial expression or whatever. They're not either believing you, they're not actually listening to you, or they're not actually getting you. So sometimes you can actually let them have control by you. Maybe, you know, if they cross their legs, you cross your legs as well at the same sort of mirror them. And, you know, that brings sort of like a familiar ground between the two of you. And there is, you know, research have shown that this actually does work psychologically, where if you match and mirror your opponent, your, you know, the person in front of you, then you create more trust and rapport between the two of you. So there are sort of studies that have shown this does work. And a lot of people that want to gain sort of a team and have some sort of like connection with people, then they use these extra strategies in this way, where it's non-verbal communication, but you're communicating with the other one and you actually bring them closer to you.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to do all the cross of the legs, and I'm going to do the hand movements while we're talking.
But you know what?
But you know what? Saying that, I've never actually thought of that. Never even
it's because
thought
you
about
never thought of it.
No, never thought of it. But at the same time, that thinking about it now as you're explaining it, not that I'm struggling to understand it, but I'm just trying to envisage process it in the way that I would do it. Not saying it would take away someone from being their own character and showing themselves.
No, it's not that. It's literally, again, it's gaining rapport. So, you know, when you sit with someone for that moment and you want to get sort of like, you know, that closeness, and you want to gain that trust with somebody, and you want to make them feel that, you know, you're with them. Just like how when I'm talking to you, or, you know, listening to you, I'm listening to your words, and you know I'm listening to you because I'm repeating what you're saying.
Yep.
So in a way, it's this gesture is repeating what the other person is doing. Do you understand?
Yes.
And they see it back, and sometimes then after a while, when you cross your hand, they subconsciously will do what you're doing, and then you know you have a little bit more control.
Okay, interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I know it is quite mind-blowing.
Okay.
And it takes a bit of practice, takes a little bit of deeper understanding, you know, into understanding the human behavior and the language, and, you know, with the way in which they work it with their body language as well as their verbal language. But it's really powerful, and it's a tool that can be used so you can actually gain that trust with, you know, your client, and you can actually have quick, instant sort of results to your benefit.
Okay.
So there's something that you need to think about.
Something definitely I need
We will
to go away,
definitely
think
go
about,
into
and try.
it a little bit deeper with regards to expression, and watching your tone, your pitch. For example, okay, let me give you, okay, maybe I'm talking about the body language, but when you're speaking, now if someone is really loud and you're really loud, how do you think that happens? Like, what's the result of that?
I think that one really is if you're trying to get hurt, if you're trying to overtalk someone. But if we're having a calm conversation, we're both calm. If it's getting a little bit heated, then obviously.
But if someone was really loud then, and you've got a soft tone, do you think that
you're bringing them back down 100%?
Exactly. So it's sort of similar things.
Okay.
Okay. So when we are talking about gaining rapport, having someone either mirror or do the opposite of what you're doing can make you have more control. Like we said about having the different voice tones in somebody, because if two people were arguing, so if you're trying to resolve something, the other person, if they want to match them, they will match them, and then that's it, they're going to have a fight, and certain occasions might need that, okay? But if you want to cool things down, then if you want to take control, then you calm yourself down, your tone is softer, it's quieter, or you're pausing, and then they come back to that sort of level that you're at. And I think that just shows how the nonverbal communication can actually have an effect. And if you use that in business to your advantage, to gain the trust, the rapport, and to gain that connection with somebody, you don't realize, but if you're aware of it, you can use it to your advantage. And I think it's really powerful. Something you're going to do?
Definitely something I'm going to have to try, something that I'm going to need to do. I think that technique, I'm going to start thinking about it, and be able to mirror someone. We'll come back to that, I
think. Even if it's in another episode, tell me if you've done something.
I'm going to take that away. You can ask me, definitely. Yeah, take that away
so we can talk about it a bit further, because I know it's something totally new to you.
Yep.
All right, so the next one is a success technique, obviously, which is we've spoken about and touched upon before, but it's gaining trust. Like, how do you gain trust? How does this happen? And obviously the different levels of trust with different people that you may have in business, credibility. How can you sort of bring out vulnerability within yourself, like humor, making mistakes, telling a story to another colleague that can actually, build that trust between you two. And when you're working with people, does trust have to be there, or are you just doing a job?
100% there needs to be trust. I think in any form of relationship that you're in, whether it's personal life, whether it's in business. Though? I think you build that up by when you're getting to know the character. Again, you're getting to know the individual, you're getting to understand their thought process on how they work, how you are. Trust obviously is a big key thing, because, for example, if we're talking about a relationship, you need to trust the other person that you're with, that they're not doing anything wrong, they're not doing anything behind your back. And if they tell you that they haven't done something, they haven't done it. If they told you they are doing something, they're going to do it. If we're talking about a business relationship, if I turn around and expect one of my team members to do something and I say to them, I need you to do this within this time frame, I need to trust that they will do it. If I know that they're not going to do it, or if my home relationship, I say something and it becomes an argument, it's not that, then you need to come to realize whether in this business relationship that person is right for that job, or if you're in a relationship that husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, or partner, life partner, whatever it might be, are you actually all right, suited for each other? Can you work together? Could you live a life together? Could you work together if that trust element is not there?
But and even if you trust, don't you just implement certain strategies within a company, for example, that would sort of question if you do trust them, but it needs to be there anyway?
Run by that, mind me again, sorry.
Well, basically, don't you have certain strategies that you put in place to make sure that, people just conform to the way they need to conform?
100%, but people will always conform, because it's like in a business, and you said there never is a blueprint. For example, you have the standard blueprint of business of turning up to work on time, doing your job description, doing this. How do you
keep track of that personally?
How do you keep track of that?
How do you do that in your business?
But me personally, because obviously I'm there, I'm in and around my business, I see what's going on.
But you're not having like a timesheet so that you know.
I don't know. I don't have like,
all right. That's what I'm trying to say. These strategies
previous work
to make sure
of course,
that it's there. So it's not about trust, but these are the processes that some companies will have, because they just brush everyone with the same stroke, and they feel that everyone just needs to conform to a certain way. That's what I meant.
Okay, but I think from that side of it, how you do build up trust and how you do it is, again, by getting to know that person. That person knows exactly what it is that they expect from you, what your expectations are from them. And then once you start spending a lot more time together and you start understanding each other, it's over experience of time that you start to trust someone.
But
there is nobody.
now that you're saying that over experience and time, I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs, because I coach them, that because they've given that time and experience and trust, and because they've done it over years, and that's when they let down.
Yes and no. I say yes and no to that. And I think sometimes, I mean, I've connected with people, personal life or business life, seeing them once, talking to them twice over the phone call, via text message or face to face, and instantly I've gone, you know what, I really like this person and I can trust this person. I can open up a little bit more, I can say a bit more, I can give them stuff, whether it be money, whether it be materialistic stuff, or whether it be secrets.
Vulnerable to...
You become vulnerable to that person, but it's that instant, if not instant, it's that connection that you have with that person.
Again, like
sometimes it does, like you're saying, entrepreneurs, sometimes it takes a while. It takes a while. And sometimes when you do that, people obey, they disrespect your trust, you know?
Yeah.
They go against it, or they use it against you. They go behind your back, they do stuff.
And there are really talented people out there that will take their time to make sure that you, over years, even months, whatever it may be, they will gain your trust, you will gain, trust with them. And, something will happen and they will either, betray you in a particular way. And it happens in businesses a lot. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't have that intuition, but I'm saying that in businesses and companies, when you're gaining trust and you've got the intuition, you do need to also have processes in place, and you do need to also always cover yourself to a certain extent.
I mean that side of it is standard. You have to have your
You think so, right?
Yeah, 100%. You need to have
As a business owner, a lot of the people, when they're working with partners or whatever, a lot of the stuff is not standard. So that's what I'm trying to highlight. You need to make sure that you've got the paperwork done.
Yeah, but if we're talking about being right up there, being part of the elite top 100, stuff like that is absolute standard. Your company values, your strategy.
Come on, big companies though, they've had people let them down.
Yeah, but your mission statement. If people don't know what your value is, where you want to go, what their expectations are,
people let you down.
Yeah, but if people don't know all of them, they will let you down. That's how you start to you will start to trust people.
But there are some really good players out there. There's some really good people that this is their job to be part of a company, be part of a team. And with especially small to medium setup companies that are on their own, and they rely on trust on individuals to give them the support. They've known them for years. They've even been friends, family friends.
Hold on. Why do they rely on trust on these people? Because these people have the qualities. They understand the mission statement. They understand your company values. Yeah, but how likely is it when somebody knows absolutely everything? They've done it for you for a certain number of time. You've worked together. You build that trust. Unlike somebody that's just come through the door, that doesn't, you haven't given them the time and the energy. I half disagree. We have to agree to disagree. That I half disagree, and I'm just using it in all the businesses that I've been through. Working for somebody that I did in my previous company, he absolutely trusted me to do X, Y, and Z. Whereas somebody else that I worked a lot longer for, he trusted me, but he felt more like that he had to consistently check in. If I bring it to this day and age right now, so I go to America often because I go and network and I go and sell my business out there. I picked up 2 corporate clients, which I came back with. And one of them, they give us work for us to do for them. And when we first started the work, they were like, let us know when this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. And because they wanted to make sure that we are following the rules and we were following the regulations, after about 5-6 jobs, they stopped because they were like, we trust these lot, they can carry on. Flip on the other side, I've got another person that we do exactly the same for, religiously every single time he wants to know. And if we don't tell him, he goes, you let me down. I can't trust you. But it's like, hold on, we still did what we're supposed to do. Yeah, but the communication dropped. So the trust level is starting to drop. So people do it in different ways. Yes. If I sit here and I say to you, Fahima, as my life coach, I'm going to tell you absolutely everything. I trust you're not going to go away. You're not going to share it. You're not going to disclose it. If the next time, if we were sat down with people and, unexpectedly something came up, I'd be like, why did she bring that up? Could I trust to tell her something else next time? So it's not that the end result is still the same, but again, it's the journey on, how it came out and how it came across. Like these 2 contracts I got. The end result is the same. Their client got A-star service from point A to point B as it was agreed, as it was paid for. But it's the process that you go through. And that's how you build that trust, because will you deliver? There's only A and B, but between that A and B, there's another A to Z. Will you deliver every single letter before you get to that NB to keep that trust level there?
From my experience, dealing with clients that have gone through maybe depression, anxiety, and they're trying to, lift themselves up because they've built a business over years and trusted somebody who were like family to them. And over time, you know, with all that trust, they were let down and they were betrayed and everything was lost and they're trying to build themselves up.
I totally get that. I've been through it myself.
Yep. They've had gut feelings, they've done all of that. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, you know, as much as, you know, as entrepreneurs or successful top people, you need to have some strict rules, regulations, processes in place as well to safeguard yourself. Because the trust is there with people, but people change over time. People are there, and it's for both sides, to be fair.
100%.
To have those processes.
100%.
So when we have gaining trust as a success technique, you know, look at all areas of having trust, and especially in a business. You know, be wise because, you know, there's a lot of loss, and I deal, and I have an insight more than most, and I deal with the end result of these tragic, you know, sort of occurrences. And it can, you know, break relationships. It can actually break, you know, so many things that happen, you know, that you've had worked many years to set up in your life. And something like this can destroy the individual and everyone around them. So the people you work for and work with or work, you know, around, you need to be very careful even how much, you know, you're putting out there for yourself and, you know, giving back, and all of these things need to be taken into consideration.
No, definitely. I mean, it's focal. I mean, you need to have that blueprint from the business side of it there to have the company statement and the procedures, not just to back yourself, but to backing for the member of individual, the staff.
Are working with friends and families nowadays, and I've known friends that didn't even start businesses. They've only had ideas, but just those ideas have broken their friendship, and they've been friends for life. It's not even a big thing, maybe like an internet, you know, sort of like online stuff, whatever. But then they got to know them. You really got to know. People say, you know people when you travel with them, but I think also more so about business, because that's your real hunger. That's success.
Yeah.
And, you know, to connect and see how you're both gonna, you know, help each other out and get those ideas in.
100%. In my previous job, I was working with my best friend, and sometimes there were stages where we used to finish the day and go home, and our friendship was at a bit of a mess because of the way that we communicated at work, because of how I wanted something done and he wasn't able to do it, or how he wanted something and I didn't do it for him. So it can ruin relationships. 100%.
That professional work and you know, that friendship outside when you're with the same people, and especially in a business, if you're running and doing things, you know, it does make.
But I'll tell you one thing though, in a level of business, that when you do have that trust and you have that friendship relationship with somebody that you work with, and you've gone through it and it clicks, you're onto a winner.
Oh my gosh, definitely.
You are absolutely onto a winner.
It's quite rare to a certain extent, because like I said, a lot of people, they've lost friendships through that, and they've changed their direction as to how they're going to work and with whom. And it's more like strangers are probably the best friends to work with than your actual friends, because you see traits in them that you didn't realize and you wouldn't necessarily put up with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes it is about that, and not having to have friendship or family members to work with, because it's tougher, it's harder. You have to act in a way, and you know, I say this a lot. For example, when I come home and I act in a certain way, and my wife turns around and says to me, well, but you don't act like this towards your staff at work, and it's like, hold on, it's completely different atmosphere. It's a different thing. You know, if you want me to treat or speak to you in a way that I speak to them, and it would be completely different. You know, I'm nice. I'm nice everywhere. But I think you need to be able to understand that it's different.
It's the friendliness.
It's the friendliness, 100%.
Because when you're professional, people don't understand. You know, there is a persona that you are, you know, perceived to be being in a particular way. And yes, it's nice to bring that home, but that's when you kind of let loose, and you might not be not nice, but you know, you just want to be yourself, and you know, not rude, but just being. You know,
and it goes to the point where we said that you have to be a chameleon and you have to adapt to different environments. I'm a complete different person when I'm working to where I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
My friends look at me and go, how are you like this business owner when you're just so much laughs and so much this, like, and it's like, switch it, become serious. And you know, when you're not serious and you're at home, you switch it to family man and to father and to partner and to, you know, you have to be able to switch. Absolutely. And you have to be able to adapt.
Well, actually, talking about switching, it comes into the very final technique for this episode is feed the birds. And it's about like how when you going out there to throw the seeds to feed the birds. So you're getting your brand out, okay? So you wanna be seen by the world. You wanna be successful in that way. And how do you feed the birds? How do you attract more birds? So basically, your product, your service. How do you send that out into, you know, the environment around you, you know, for everybody? And how does that serve you and how do you educate people about your business? And it's really important when you are sending out your product, your service, to do it in a particular way which is representative of yourself and the kind of social media groups you might, put yourself out there doing it, and especially now everything's on social media. So, like, do you find there's any limitations, or do you find there's certain areas or sort of, ways that you do more than others when you actually advertising?
I think the biggest key and the biggest thing at the moment is social media.
Okay, yes.
And social media for me can be used in various different ways. Social media breaks people. Social media makes people.
Definitely.
And social media it can be dangerous.
Absolutely.
And it can also be
Branding's
very,
important.
very powerful
Your
tool.
message and your branding's important.
100%. I do a lot on social media when it comes to my business. When it comes to be able to put articles out there, magazines out there, and I've got a great PR team, and my PR manager's got us done a lot for us online through newspapers and through magazines that are quite top of the top to be able to promote the business. And it's how I then take that message, filter that onto social media, and to be able to
for
do
a
it.
minute or two.
I've got a very good friend of mine that a lot of viewers probably know, Yanamais, and the one thing that he always says is brand everything. Brand everything. Make sure everybody knows your values. Make sure everybody knows what your brand is, because when people see it, people understand it, people know it, they know where it's come from. So you use marketing in like various different ways, and you have to be able to put it out there. If you're not going to promote your business, if you're not going to throw these seeds out, if you're not going to throw these seeds out, you're not going to feed the birds, they're not going to know. And a lot of people say, oh God, that's all you ever talk about, this, and you're an award winner, how many times are you going to go on about it? How many times? But it's like, hold on, you might have seen it, somebody might have not seen it a week ago, somebody might have seen it 2 weeks ago. Somebody could be on the edge of wanting to use my business but thinking, why then? And then all of a sudden you've put something out, oh, they won awards. Oh, they've got a Rolls Royce. Oh, they've got this. So you have to continuously promote,
So
and you have to do it in various different ways.
The last technique in an amazing way to show that it's really important to feed the birds, feed it in the right way, use whatever's out there, and be careful how you use it as well, and the message and the branding and whatever it may be. But it's definitely another success technique that we need to, make sure that we do with care and clarity and be specific. And social media can work to our benefit.
100%.
So we've come to the end of the show. Thank you once again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Insights and thoughts and knowledge, and even the disagreements. But this is how it's meant to be. It's not meant to be everything that we all have the same thoughts. But thank you again, and thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.